How's it going, everybody? My name's Dave Whipple and you're watching Bush Radical. If you've been following my knife shop videos, you know that I've had problems with my metal cutting bandsaw. It was just too fast. I talked to my friend Steve Ganem out in California, and he said, you gotta switch to a Portaband. So I found myself a good deal, 80 bucks on a Milwaukee Portaband. And I've spent the better part of the day out here in the garage trying to figure out how to mount this thing. So here's my idea for a mount. This is a rough cut white pine 2x4. But what I've done here is I've notched this thing out to accept the Portaband. And the Portaband, like the worm gear, can sit right on this little notch out here, and then there's another part of the housing that sits in here. Let me show you. First things first, I drilled holes so I can bolt this thing right to the end of my workbench. There we go. So this is technically a removable mount. Now the way I figured it is for the saw to sit just like that. Now as long as I just figure out a way to fasten these two things together, this should be real solid. You can see that that worm gear housing actually rests on that first notch. Alright, my thoughts at this point. I think I'll cut a piece of wood that's roughly this same shape to give this worm gear housing a little bit more to sit on. I'm going to need to cut down a piece of wood so it's about the same size as this handle. Something like this. That's about right. Something to give that housing a little extra to sit on. I think what I'll do first is just drill this little block. I'll try not to split this thing. I mean, there's just not much there though. I can set this guy on right here. It should slip right in there. Yeah, there we go. Anyway, that extra block, and I'll probably take this block off later and glue it and put it back on. But that whole worm gear housing is just resting right on that block, and of course on the rest of the notch that's in that 2x. Okay, so here's my thought on fastening this. I got this little piece of ratchet strap that still has the hook on the end. Put a loop on the other end. Drop this hook in here, go around the back of the saw, put the hook through the loop, like so, something like that. Now from there, I take my wooden wedge, drop my wedge in behind that, and just kind of, there we go, just like that. I should hold that just fine, and then I'll tap the wedge out when I'm ready to take the saw off of the post. Nice. So now the saw is fastened up top just with this strap, and that strap is held tight with a wedge. And then here on the bottom, I've cut another block of wood. Not perfect, it's close. I'm gonna stick it underneath there. And I think what I'll do here is I'll take a screw with a washer. Just simple. I'll drill a hole through here, and then I'll put a long screw with just a washer right there, and that will hold that whole handle in place. And that's it. Just that little washer right down there, holding the very bottom of that handle. It's nice and snug. Up here we're held on with this strap, and that strap is also nice and tight thanks to just being wedged in there. When I cut that wedge, here's the other side of that piece, and it works perfect for a trigger lock. Slow, fast. Now the whole entire saw is supported on a post that's bolted to an existing bench, and this saw is on there nice and sturdy. There's not much going on here. It's very, very, very minimalistic, but it's a good, solid, sturdy setup. I hope somebody out there finds this useful. and maybe an interesting way to mount at least this type of portaband. So if there's somebody out there that's been looking for a way to mount a portaband for doing knife blanks and knife work, or just metal work, changing a portaband to an upright metal cutting bandsaw, and they wanted something incredibly simple, I hope this helps you guys out. My name's Dave Whipple, and you've been watching Bush Radical. And be radical, eh? See you soon.